Hello, I'm Julie.
I'm Lili.
And this is the behind the scenes of our first animation by LIJU Animations. Lili was in charge of moving the animations and I was doing the lighting and the camera work.
So the shooting itself was 22 hours, but there was at least 5 hours of setting up with all the lighting, the camera, because we had quite a few at the same time. Everything was remote control.
But what we found worked better for us towards the end was just working with one camera, one shot at each time, wasn't it? And really taking our time with that. And you don't think you're making any difference in the photo. It's just a slight change. You think, have we really made any difference with that photo? But when you run it through Final Cut Pro, it really does. You can see it. So no, it was definitely fun, and I'm going to miss Gordon and Chuck. I'm going to miss them
because we had to give them some name. Obviously, that was important.
Yeah.
I think there was lots of work that got into filming it, where shooting every pictures, but also lots of work that happened before and lots of work that happened after. For me, I was in charge of doing all the sets, probably spent a week doing the sets, all the new props and everything to scale. I spent a week doing the finalized puppets. But before that, because I've never done animation, I spent a week just testing out all sorts of materials, trying to understand the engineering of the puppets, what kind of movements I wanted to create. I wanted to be able to work without any rig, because there's lots of editing work that comes after all the shot is done, and I didn't want to have to remove a rig on every single pictures. So that involved lots of research. So overall there was 3 weeks of work before to prep everything. Then there was maybe a week that we've done the shoots.
Yes, and even in the setup as well, when we set the lights up on that first day and the camera, we did a bit of a run-through test, didn't we?
That was really helpful.
That was really helpful, just to get an idea. I think we just did a little walk across, or?
Yeah, even not an elaborate movement, but just to get an idea of how much we need.
And the walking was a mammoth task. I mean, Lili did such a good job. I don't know if you can see here.
Oh, that was hard.
She has screw holes going all the way along, and they screw the puppets. She screws the puppets into the base 1 foot at a time, and it was a really hard job, wasn't it, when you're in the middle of a shoot and you've got to stop and screw and the screw's not taking, and
it came really handy to be 2-person, because you were holding the puppet when I was messing around with the screw underneath, because once you start messing around with the screw, the whole body starts to move. So having 2-person really helped for the movement. For the rest, you can animate as 1 person, and ideally the other one is by the computer checking the pictures and taking them remotely. But I think it was really nice to be 2-person on this
needed
task.
2 in the end, but it worked so well, and how they stood up for 5 days in the end shooting, plus all the prep work before. I mean, we used LED lights, which are the coldest lights we could use, which is a good thing. We didn't want hot lights on clay, but Lili's done a marvellous job having all these spare parts on standby in this beautiful workshop, which has everything, by the way.
To fix
say, have you got this?
problems.
Yeah, I've got it. Oh, what about if we tilted it? Oh yeah, I've got that. So we don't need to pop to the shops. Everything is here.
But then there's the making of the sets and the puppets, then there's the animation, and then there's a whole other chapter that open up with the editing. That's where your magic skills come in.
Well, yeah, this is what we're going to be doing next. Colour matching and exposure, and check that everything's all hopefully in focus, which it should be. And once all that's matched, then we probably will have a look to see if we want to add any grades or any effects, or change the mood by changing the colour tones slightly.
So if you're considering doing some animation, good luck. It's fun, definitely. We've learned so much doing it. And I think it's an interesting challenge, because it's one thing to look at YouTube video and tutorials of how to do it, is a different one than to actually just get in there and do it.